All right, welcome back for our video sequence on constructing the Raspberry Pi case. And so what we're going to be doing in this video is building on what we did in the last video, where we took the Raspberry Pi and SenseHat model that we downloaded, and we built an enclosure around it, basically a shell around it. So let's switch over to the document camera. We'll take a look at where we're at here. So we are building this piece here. And so in the last video, where we left off, if you look, if we go back to Fusion here, if we turn off the SenseHat and the Pi Electronics, we've got something that's very similar here. We've got those standoffs in the bottom. If we come over here to the document camera, that's what we're building, those standoffs in the bottom there that will allow us to keep the electronics up off of the floor of the device. All right, or of the case, sorry. And so what today we're going to do is we're going to build these ears here on the sides in this video, and then in the next video, the following video, we'll add this slot in here that'll allow us to have access to the connectors, and that'll finish up the base. All right, so let's get started here. So let me jump over to Fusion. And so here we are in Fusion. All right, so what we want to do is we want to add ears around this. And I've got some measurements, and you'll see me come up with some measurements here that that are a little bit arbitrary. But let's start with a projection. Let's create a new sketch where we project. Let me get this edge up here. I'm going to get right on the front of it here. And I'm going to get this edge here, turn it blue, and I'm going to actually, let me do this. Let me start a new sketch first, and I'll start it here, and then I will grab, I'll do a P for projection, and I will project this whole surface down there down to my base. So there we go. So now I can turn this off now, and I've got this. Whoop, turn that back on. So I want to turn off this body here. So now I've got this line around the device that I can use as, for instance, an offset. So what you're going to see me do now is I'm going to make an offset around the perimeter of this to give me a little bit of space between the edge of the case and this reference line that I want to use to offset those ears away from the enclosure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to this. I'm going to create an offset, and I'm going to use this outer line here, and I'm going to offset this by 2 millimeters. Okay, and I'm going to take this line here. Actually, these lines, I want to turn those into construction lines, and I probably should have had it selected. Let me undo that. And let me change the line type to construction. Now I'm going to do a modify, offset again, and I'll grab that line, and I'll make it 2 millimeters. And so now I've got this line, this construction line, so that's a line that's not going to show up in my in the next step up. So when I finish this sketch, this won't come up to the 3D side. I won't see those lines at all. So the next thing I want to do here is I want to create a reference line that I can use to draw a circle. So I'm going to draw a circle somewhere in here, but I want to be more precise than that. I want to put it exactly 14 millimeters back. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the line command, L, and I'm going to hit L. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to go from here to here. It's a construction line, so I don't want it to show up. And I'm going to set the distance. I'm going to hit D from here to here. And I'm going to make that, I'll come up here, make it up there. I'll make it 14 millimeters. Yes, that's fine. Good. So that's my other line. So I've got my reference line there. I'm going to create a reference line from this side here that is, again, 14 millimeters in from this edge right here. So I'm going to do an L. So let me get out of do an L, and I'll drop a line in somewhere in here. It doesn't really matter where, because I'm going to cause it to move based on the distance. So I'm going to hit D for distance. And I'm going to cause this here to be 14 millimeters. Whoop. Like that. And I'll do the same up here. I'll create a line. I will create the distance between this and this to be 14 millimeters. Okay, so there we go. In fact, I may move this dimension. I'm going to move this dimension somewhere else so that it's kind of out of my way, because I want to be working in this sort of space here, because I'm going to be adding a circle. I can move this up here. Going to get this out of the way. All right, so now I'm going to put a circle right here on this edge right here on this intersection. So I'm going to hit the C command, C, and then I'm going to draw it, and I'm going to make it 10 millimeters. And in fact, I want to come in here and I want to change. Now, I don't want construction lines. Now I want real lines. So I want lines that are going to show up at the next level up. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to create another circle here, and I'll make it 10 as well. And I seem to be stuck on the construction line, so I'll change that again. And then I'll do circle, and I'll draw another one here at 10. And I will draw another one here at 10. Perfect. All right, so now I've got my outer bosses. Those are the, if we come back to our document camera and we look, what we're doing is we're building out these ears here that are going to give us a spot to run a screw into, a plastic threading screw that will allow us to connect those. All right, so what we want to do, we want to put a hole for the screw itself. So we want a pilot hole there. And I'm going to make that pilot hole 1.75 millimeters. And so, because I'm going to use a number 2 screw, and that's about right for a number 2 screw. So let's see. So let's do a circle. Circle. And I'll make this one 1.75. Yep. I'll do another circle here. I'm going to move some of these dimensions, zoom in here, and I'll move these dimensions out just so I can get a look at them later. Circle here, 1.75. And again, I'll move these dimensions away so I'll be able to see them. And a circle. All right, so now we've got our ears, so we can go ahead and finish up this sketch. And so here I am, I'm back. I can turn the body back on, and it'll show me kind of what I've got here. And now if I want to hit extrude here, E, I can extrude these parts of this that are hanging over and have the hole in the middle. And so I'm going to make those 25, the same as the enclosure. And it is thinking. And there we go. There are our holes. Now, you might want to, set the height of these pilot holes, and you could do that if you wanted to do a separate sketch. The other thing you'll notice is that this is not going all the way down. So what I want to do is I want to come back over here, and I want to extrude this to this lower surface here, so that this foot here is level with the bottom. And that's going to be because I'm going to have another piece on the very bottom, these feet, that will that will line up with the same extrusion. So let me do another extrusion here. And so I'm going to select this, and this, this, and this. and I'm going to make it to an object, and I'm going to make that this surface here, and I'm going to say okay. And so now those feet come right down to the bottom. So now I've got my ears, and this will give me a spot to run a bolt through when I want to screw down the lid and the cover. So, all right, so here we are. Here's what it's going to look like. If we were to print that, we'd have everything but this window here on the side. And in the next video, we'll talk about how you set that window. All right, so that's it for this video. We'll move on to adding the opening for the connectors in the next video.